So it's Ron Aiken here, trying to give you guys a heads up on the open water feed stick and preparation for longer races. I recommend these things that I'm be going through for the 7.5K and the 10K races. All this is not needed for the 5K and below. I do believe you just go out there and do your normal pool racing type outfitting for the 5K and below. There really isn't a lot of preparation for it. But the number one thing that everyone seems to really want to know about right now is the feed sticks, which turns out to be looking a little bit like this when we're done. What we're using is a Home Depot basically connect clean telescoping pole. This one goes about 12 feet. The limit for open water is right around 16 feet. There is a ruling on that. We don't quite see a lot of measuring going on here in the United States, but overseas there will be a measuring official that will make sure your stick is not too long. So I tend to see the 12-foot stick is good enough for what we try to do. Obviously this thing will extend out to be able to reach your swimmer. You don't want to extend it out too far, of course it'll come apart, so make sure you know where the limit is there and then tighten it up for the pull. Other things that you're going to need for the feed stick is, I've done several of these and they can get really expensive. This is the cheapest way to do it. This pole is right around $12 to $16, and then you can buy like $1 paint cup, and they're easy to find. And that's all you need for your drink to be able to fit in, so the swimmer can pull it out of the cup while they swim by and get it from you. We do have a fancier stick. This is the Lakeside 600, and you can find those online, and they're overseas, and these are great to have when you're having to travel, because it's really hard to have to travel with these long sticks on a plane. But these are fancier, and when you get to a point to where you know what you need, I recommend you buy one of these so you'll have it all the time. You also want to have a bag to keep your drinks cooler during the race, because it's an hour and a half to a 2-hour race, so you want to make sure those drinks stay cool for the athletes when they're coming by, so we kind of do that. So let me go ahead and get started on the stick, kind of show you guys that stuff. Also, you can have some kind of marker on your stick to be able to put up here so that your athlete knows what that's going to be. When we're in different countries, they put the country flags up there, the USA flags, Canada flags, Italians, whatever, and they know where their stick is. So if your athlete has a favorite color, or any kind of item or flag, or maybe even a sports team, like you want to put up there the Las Vegas Raiders, and that's their team, and they're going for that stick that has the Raiders flag on it. There is a limit on the size of the flag. I would just kind of keep it to this size, maybe a size of a swim cap, not too much bigger than that. And that's other things that they'll tape to these sticks as well, so your athlete can find their stick when they come by the feed dock as your swim cap or favorite swim cap. In order to put these things together, it's not that difficult. Just kind of keep it simple. And what we have is the handle, and basically I'm just wrapping it underneath the handle with duct tape, or you want to call it Gorilla Tape now. It's not quite duct tape anymore. And got that stick a little bit too far in front. You can see on that one I don't. But you use the Gorilla Tape, just tear it off. Sometimes some people can't tear it, and then just do that. As you can see, I've got a whole bunch of them here set up, ready to go. Kind of makes the job a little easier and cleaner as we go. But I will continue to go back and forth with the tape to make it more and more secure. And keep wrapping around as I go, so I get a little bit under the cup and then back into the cup, and it really holds pretty well all the way around. There's a lot of ways that you can secure it. As you can see, I'm going to go all the way under as I got the one there and come around. And then I will just grab a little bit of the handle and then come back up to the pole and wrap it around. And this tape is really pretty strong. I mean, you really only need it for one race. You're not gonna, after the race is over, you're just gonna dismantle the whole stick and retape for every race. You don't wanna come out there with an old taped feed stick and then have your tape fall apart during the race. So that's one of the things that I try to do with that. So as you go through, you just keep going back and forth. One other thing you can do is you can take a bigger piece of tape and wrap it all the way around like I've done here in the past. But this would be it.
Can you show that again?
With the wraparound. So you come all the way around here, go all the way around, give you a little more something to hold on to, and then you can put some of that stuff on the inside of the cup just to kind of secure your cup more so it's not floating around too much. But I really can't, just from doing this halfway, I really can't pull this off. The other thing that's nice about these feed cups is that you can actually put them in the water in front of the athlete if they're swimming by themselves and there's no one else around them. Makes it easier for them to reach and grab the cup. If not, obviously, you're gonna have to make sure you're feeding your athlete at an angle and make sure the other athletes can't knock the water bottle out of the cup. And then you wanna angle it towards them so when they're taking their stroke, they can just come on up and grab it out of the cup.
We'll provide an actual feeding demonstration later this week.
So that's pretty much it. This is pretty close to the finished product. If you're not too sure about if your cup is secure enough for you, then just keep wrapping around and keep putting tape inside of it and keep getting more tape around it to make yourself feel better. I've done several of these and none of them have really failed. So I really like how I'm doing them right now. Like I said, you have this for an identifier, zip ties you can tie it to so your athlete can see it. Painter's cup we don't need anymore, that's over here. As far as supplies go, this is kind of the tricky part, and as you get more and more people having to do this on their own, make sure you always have a pair of scissors with you. Really helps when you're cutting the tape. And then when the kids are putting on their open water suits, if you happen to have a full body suit from the ankles to the shoulders, this helps getting it on. And then also, because it's not chlorine treated water with all the different types of chemicals in it to keep your skin soft from rubbing, we find that they need to have Vaseline or lanolin, or what the triathletes are using is this slick skin. You put that on before your races and it keeps from your skin chafing on the suits and any places that you might rub while you're swimming. That helps during the swim, so when they get out of the water, they don't have all these rubs from their skin or from a suit that tends to become raw and scab over a little bit sometimes if they don't have that type of stuff.
What if you're just wearing a regular tech suit? Would you recommend using this?
Yeah, anything over a 5K, I would definitely be putting on Vaseline and slick skin. So the 5K is just an hour swim. Usually don't need any of that, and they're just fine. But if they're out there longer than an hour, we start to see the chafing and the rubbing and needing of the Vaseline. In order to put all that stuff on, sometimes the athlete has to do it themselves, or you're helping the athlete. So we highly recommend these sandwich bag or disposable gloves to put on, and then you put that lanolin in your hand, rub it on the athlete in areas where they will chafe. Definitely the girls over their shoulders, and then the boys right around the top of the suit line. It tends to cause some rubbing there. With the caps, it's really important to understand in open water swimming that your cap can fall off, your goggles can fall off, and if you don't put those things on properly, you could be swimming without them. One thing you do want to do with the feeding person is they can carry an extra cap with the feed bag and the water and the drinks, and an extra pair of goggles that you can actually put in this cup and give it to them when they swim by, and they could have an extra pair of goggles. If they got their goggles knocked off or they get another swim cap, you can put it in there, they can grab it. You can't throw anything to an athlete. can't throw water to them, you can't throw the drink to them, you can't throw goggles or swim caps. That's not legal to do. Highly recommend the earplugs while they're out there, especially in the longer races. If the water's cold, that's where the earplugs really come into play. It helps keep the body warmer. But as far as the caps go, you want to have a latex cap. These tend to stay on better. Put that on the first portion of your head, then your goggles, and then the silicone cap over top if you prefer a silicone cap or another latex cap. We will go through some other things on how to secure your cap down with we use some tape for that as well. We have the clear tape and the Gorilla Tape still, depends on what you want to use. I like the clear tape because if they're part of a team, you can still put the clear tape on and you can see their cap. Once you start putting a lot of black tape on, it's hard to identify which swimmer it is, so it's easier for us to see who they are when they're going around. Other things that go on that we won't have in this particular race coming up, but in some races you have timing chips that will go on your wrist, and then we use these tongue depressors or paint stick stirrers, and we slide tape underneath the wrist to keep the band from coming off, and then we'll tape down where the timing chips latch to the wrist so we don't lose those during the race, and it works out better for everyone in the end to not worry about losing their timing chip, because if you don't have your timing chips and you finish the race, the time won't count, and they'll also, I don't even think the results will count if you lose both of your chips. So we got to make sure that we tape those down. But in this particular race this weekend, there are no timing chips, and so we don't have to worry about that stuff. Michael, did I cover everything I need to cover?
Only question is, most people right now, this is their first time ever swimming a race this length and having to do anything like this. What's the number one advice you'd give just for first time going through, first time taking their feeds? What would you suggest that they think about as we're going through this process?
Well, that's a great question, because I just think anybody doing feeding the first time around, I had this discussion with another athlete yesterday, was we all generally swim a 2-hour practice, and these races are going to be about a 2-hour swim to an hour and a half swim, and really ask yourself, how much do you drink throughout your practice? And you're going to find out that you don't drink that much during your practice. So if you go into the race and you're pretty hydrated and you have everything you need, the feed is important to refresh yourself, but it's not something that you really have to depend on to be able to perform. I would just think you need to come by, get as much as you can out of that drink as you go. A lot of times the race will dictate how long you take your drink, but if you're leading the race and you got plenty of time to take a drink, just drink till you're comfortable and get going. You can also drink while you're on your back, swimming on your back, inhaling that drink. I do recommend that you have a bigger bottle with a bigger mouth opening, so you can pour more into your drink, into your mouth during the race. But I don't think you have to drink like a full bottle every lap that you come by for a feed, because of the fact that even when you train, you don't drink, say you have a 4-lap race, you don't drink 4 bottles of Gatorade during a practice. So just kind of remember that it's good to kind of refresh yourself when you go by, when you have a chance.
What do you suggest for drinks, especially for our first timers here?
First timers, I think, Powerade, Gatorade are totally fine, and water. The water, it may be early in the laps, but I really wouldn't worry about water. I would just always have Gatorade or Powerade on hand. Most of the kids that are used to Vitargo, that works as well too. And then there's some kind of, you could put a gel pack in those as well and shake it up. So you could get a Gatorade gel pack and put it in the drink. Most of the time that we've done that, the kids don't really like it. So I think if you're a first timer, I would just stick to a Powerade or a Gatorade or a Vitargo. And the best water bottles to use are the Vita water bottles, because they have bigger mouthpieces. So.
Awesome. Thanks, Ron.
Yeah.